I
Is there
can't believe
any
it's been a week already. Seems like we did this yesterday. It's
Mhm.
crazy. It's gone by so fast. My life is like flying by before my eyes. I don't even think I'm about to die, but it's like that, like my life is flashing. How y'all doing? Glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. We've got great looking crew out there. Look at that. Man, how lucky are we to be a part of this group? I don't know. Thanks for showing up. We are live on Facebook. And if you're on Facebook watching us, what are you doing? You should be in here with us on Zoom, chatting and stuff like that. So I want to invite you to do that. There's a link there in the description. Just go ahead and click on that. And it'll be awesome. Last week was a little bit light. It was a little bit light, I have to admit, but it was like the 3rd of July. And what was I thinking? I should have probably just taken the day off anyway, but we showed up. We had like half dozen guys. We had a good call actually. It was pretty good. And so, never a dull moment around here. But I see since Christina's with us, maybe I can get her to give us a little update on the Shower Door Professionals Co-op. What do you think, Christina? How's it going?
Hey, I think I can manage that. The sun is directly in my eyes, but we could
Nah.
do that. All right. So, hey everybody, I'm Christina. We have made a Shower Door Professionals Co-op to support our industry and improve our industry, and highlight our industry. And we are in the midst of creating that, working on that. And we meet every Tuesday. We got the bylaws finished. Mostly they are just editing the final draft of all of that, and the attorney is, and then we'll be done with that. So that's great. That was like 3 weeks of meeting with an attorney. So really happy to have that done. That's all the fine print. And then now we get to work on the really fun stuff, the website, the blogs, the gallery, the whatever we're going to do, all the things we're going to do. We're working on that. So the other thing that we also finished yesterday was the membership form. So we have a form that's going out. It's pretty comprehensive, but if you're a business owner or a director or a general manager in a business, you should probably know the answers to all those questions, mostly offhand. So not hard to fill out, but it is comprehensive. None of these things are deal breakers to join. We're just trying to get a sense of like what kind of business you have, why you want to join, like, learn a little bit more about people's business. If you have already filled out the interest form in the past, we have your information. Rob has your information, and he is sending that form tonight if he hasn't already sent it. Is that right, Rob? Am I speaking out of turn?
That is correct. You will be getting a link. Everyone that signed up through any of the forms in the last 7 months should be getting a sign up more additional info form, and you can just reply back to that thread and let us know if you have any questions before you fill it out, or if you want help doing that. We got you.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so definitely reach out. If you have any questions, let us know. If you're like, why are you asking this? We're happy to answer that. Again, nothing's a deal breaker. We're not trying to get in your business. We're just trying to understand, because this is a little bit more than an association. We're actually going into business with one another. So it is a little bit more comprehensive. So just keep that in mind. And we're really excited about it. And then you'll hear from us. Probably take a couple weeks to get through them. But people will start hearing from us with more information about membership and things like that. So without further ado, I'll turn it back over to Chris so you don't have to hear my road noise.
Awesome. Thanks, Christina. Yeah. Rob's done a really good job at putting that form together, and all of us kind of, pitching in, giving them our opinions. We've got a lot of them. But yeah, it's a lot of information. We want to be able to collect it all at once, not have to, ask you guys a bunch of questions over and over again. So yeah, it's good. So yeah, we're rolling. So thanks for everybody who is pitching in and helping out. You are appreciated. So yeah, so tonight, actually, on the call yesterday morning, we were talking about what might be a good topic for tonight's call. And someone brought up the idea of talking about customers and what makes a great customer for you. Like, let's say a customer wanted a master class on how to be a great shower door customer. What advice would you give them to help them have the best possible shower door buying experience? Man, I know there's some people on the call who've got some great insights into this. So I can't wait to hear what you guys come up with.
What was the question again? I'm busy designing a shower right now.
Yeah, it's all about
hear.
how do you design showers? No, that's
I
not
have-
what it was. Actually, it was about if you could give advice to a customer, a potential customer, on how to be a good customer, how to make a good buy. How would you troubleshoot that experience for them?
Get educated. Do your homework.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, try to determine what you need in a shower door, whether it's limitations, and then try to determine what kind of door you like that might, work in your space, and do some homework. And then that's how they also that's how they kind of find, oh, there's glass coatings. Wow, I didn't even know that was there. They start discovering things. So, when you arrive, they already kind of have an idea of what they might want and be able to educate you on what they want and what they already know and have seen.
That's a great point. It seems like that would be a great benefit of Shower Door Professionals Co-op website page as a place where you can send someone to do exactly that. Hey, check out this link, go to this site, and you can learn everything that a consumer needs to know about shower doors, how to purchase them, what to expect, where to find great professionals in your area, et cetera, right? Because if you tell me, you don't want to just tell somebody, hey, go do, your research. Because where do you send somebody? But it'd be cool if we could make our website just an awesome source for consumers to learn more about shower doors.
I feel like there's a fine line with that too, in my personal opinion. Right, like too much knowledge could be more of a hindrance than a help. Right, too smart for their own good, type of thing. And it's a matter of and a means of where they're gathering their information, right? Like just because you read it on the internet doesn't necessarily mean it's true, right? That old saying, right? And like I run into problems from time to time with customers that will attempt to tell me what needs to be done. This is the way it's supposed to be done. And it's like, well, okay, but who told you that? The other guy that doesn't maybe want to think outside of the box. Maybe he only knows one way to do it, that type of thing. When you first asked the question, the three first things that popped into my mind were communication, consideration, and pay attention. Right? Be considerate of my time, and understand that like you called us, right? You called whatever company you called because you don't know. So have some faith that the company you called knows what they're talking about, and have a little blind faith, a little trust. The communication to piggyback on what Brad said, like communicate to us like what you researched, what you think you want, what you are unsure about. Kind of get all that out on the front end, in the beginning of the call, because there's no sense in us wasting all this time and conversation, you know, and then you're going to hit me with, you know, 3 days later, you're going to be like, oh, by the way, I want this, or I can't have that, whatever it is. Kind of put everything out on the table, because you're going to get better service that way. We're going to get to the finish line quicker. And pay attention. Like, if you're asking me questions and I'm answering questions and I'm sending texts with a bunch of information, and then you respond to that text asking 3 questions that I've already answered in that previous text, like, you know, read first before you come back and say whatever it is you're going to say. Because again, we're just kind of circling around this dead end street, and no one's getting anywhere. And I feel like sometimes it's a lack of consideration for like my time and effort. Like, I appreciate the call. I'm here to help, and I'm going to try and help. But like, I need you to help me to help you. Like, I can't help you just by myself. I need your assistance. Like, this is going to be, you know, we're going to volley this thing for a little bit, but like, let's make it a good experience if we can. But, you know, I don't know. I'm preaching to the choir.
Oh no, that's great. Those are great answers. Because yeah, I mean, we really want to come up with some good ideas that we can share with the public. You know, I mean, we're the pros. You know, we know what's going to make it an enjoyable experience, like you're saying, or, you know, a less enjoyable experience. So yeah, thanks for that, man. That was really good.
Yeah, because I mean, it should, right? The shower door in some of these jobs, it's the bathroom remodel or the home renovation. By the time we get there, you know, these people are at the end of their rope, you know, and they've probably gone through, you know, a couple hills in hell to get to where they are. And it's like, well, let's finish it up on a high note. Like, you know, let's end with a pleasant experience if we can. And I often say it to customers, like, you know, part of my responsibility at that point in time, I feel, is like, I'm not only providing a service and a product, I'm somewhat restoring a little bit of faith in, you know, tradespeople sometimes, because of all the horror stories that we've heard up to that point. And it's like, well, listen, you know, I'm sorry you went through that, but you haven't gone through that with us. So give us our fair shot and let us, you know, let us offer you redemption. Like, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
Talk them down from the ledge, right?
Oh man, I tell you, it's crazy sometimes. People are just, they're wound tight, man. It's stresses at a high level.
Yep, agree.
One
Brian,
thing I would say.
completely.
One thing I would say is, if we had information on the co-op website, it needs to be general enough, because some people are going to have one type of coding. Somebody else might have a different type of coding, yet somebody else might use shower guard, you know, so you can't make blanket statements about one being better than the other or anything. It has to be generalized,
not unless they're
to
a
accommodate
partner.
all of us.
Not unless they're a partner with us.
Well, there you go.
Well, and Dad, you're also talking, I mean, you're talking to some of the people who wrote the guidelines, the guidebook, and they've gone through the same headache and process before. And I don't know that we're going to do it this way, but my idea was to base a lot of the blog posts on the guidebook, so that we can always point back to the guidebook as the reference manual for any literature that we have on the website. We just elaborate a little bit more on it, maybe include more diagrams, and maybe include more specific detail. And since Shannon and Chris and others literally wrote it, they can kind of give us, you know, why they didn't add something that they thought they might have, you know, wanted in there, or why they, you know, and I don't want to rewrite the guidebook either. So there's a fine line, but I think a lot of it's already been written. But this is going to be in a more public, maybe more general than for homeowners. So that's kind of what this is meant.
Well, one of the things that I've encountered, I do some classes, and so I do a webinar with the NKBA, and it's national, and then I do KBIZ every other year in Vegas. And while I'm doing that, here I am in Little Portland, Oregon, and if you don't live in the Oregon area, you're not even my customer. So I always start off with, this is how we like to design a shower. Here are some guidelines. You need to talk to the person in your area. You need to feel good about that person. You need to talk to Brian and listen to him and say, this guy sounds like he knows what he's doing, and then ask more questions, because yeah, you could, within this group, we could within 5 minutes find 10 different opinions from 10 different guys who have been doing this for 30 years. And so, there's no end to different ways of doing it. And what also gets me is when people say, oh, well, I want to do it this way. See, look at this picture. And I'm going, that is half the size of your shower, and see how it's attached to the ceiling, and this is totally different. So educating them. What I would tack on to that too is that I love when people contact us ahead of time, like before they've even started construction, because there are times where we go in and it's already been built, and it's like, this really should be 135-degree angle, not 130-degree angle. We're going to be limited. I'm sorry that you chose rose gold and I don't have a match for it. So, so many of those things that we could potentially get up front. And one of the things that we've been tackling lately is the preformed pans, where they have like this really, really narrow lip, and a lot of times they want sliders, and our sliders are too wide for these narrow lip pans. And I don't know, the more the better. We can't always figure everything out up front, but at least we have a shot, versus showing up at the end and going, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I kind of like what Christine was saying about using the design, the shower door design and installation guides as kind of a base, and just kind of be referring to that, because we did purposely kind of dumb it down, for lack of a better phrase, right? So that it wasn't going all over the place, and try to use language that was not absolute, like, oh, this is how it has to be done, or you need to do this, or you should do that, but like, kind of, this is how normally things are done, or this is a one way to do it, or something like that. And I can just see having a page where you can drop down on this shower door page, and it's very basic, and you can just drill down. Maybe like what type of shower, just some basic shapes, and then click on that shape, and then kind of see some options for that. You could install it with a slider, you can install it with channel, you can install it with clips. You can get into different finishes, you can get into different thicknesses of glass, or different types of glass, and I could see kind of like a tree where you're clicking in, and you can drill down as far as you want. So the person who really wants to go deep, the engineer type who wants every detail, could actually get that. And then, the person who just wants kind of an overview, they can get that too. And if it's a useful tool, it'd be great to be able to tell somebody who's got a ton of questions. This customer who calls in, they've got 100 questions. And it's like, you would love to answer all their questions, but like, you've got other customers. Wouldn't it be great to have a resource where you could send them that was dependable, and that you were familiar with and was reputable, where you could be like, hey, check out, I'm going to send you a link, click on this link, check this out, and it should answer all of your questions. If you still have questions afterwards, I can answer them, So
Don't
the
want
topic,
people to read too much into it, though. That might be, they might kind of start formulating what they think is absolute when it's not.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just good information. I mean, I'm hearing what you're saying, and I agree.
yeah, there's
So-
always going to be a
It'd
little
be-
give and take there,
It'd be cool to have an interactive tool, but I think I like what Shannon's saying too. I mean, she had some really, really good points. I think the biggest thing that we run into is like curb pitch is flat or negative, so they're gonna have leaking issues. Make sure your curb is pitched, and make sure you pick a good tile guy, and you can call, we have great references of tile guys who, I mean, they don't pay us to refer them or anything. They just do really good work, and it makes our job easier. So, I mean, call your local shower door professional, ask them about good tile guys in the area, good contractors that they recommend, and get your tile done right, the first time. So that would be my recommendation to a customer. And picking finishes. Oh my gosh, choosing finishes, like Shannon said, it's hard. It's hard.
One thing
Mhm.
I run into sometimes is designing from like when they're remodeling a bathroom and we get in there and they wanted to have a fixed panel only, just a walk-in shower, but they've got the plumbing on the wrong side, or they got the walk-in side where the toilet is, so you have to step around the toilet, and it's not an option for them. So one thing I would like for them to do is think completely through the process from start to finish before they start gutting it and stuff. Like, hey, I want, I'm thinking of the shower guys at the very end. I want a fixed panel and I want to walk into my shower, but crap, I got the shower head on the walk-in side where I wanted to be walking in at, and the toilet's on the other side, So just thinking through the design from start to finish with the shower door people in mind, and which would lead to a design tool of some sort for them to just see examples and reasons why you do, like, why do you do this? Like, think about where your plumbing's at for stuff like that. That's something that I run into a lot. I'm like, I'm sorry, we can't do you're going to need a door because the door needs to be over here because you got the shower head on the side you want to walk in at, That's something we run into a lot, but just from start to finish, thinking it through.
Be nice to have a flow chart.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, like a flow chart.
I
Exactly.
like that. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Well, and Daniel, that made me think, like, a lot of people don't think about how they use their space. Not just thinking of the shower guys at the end, but like, think about how you want to use your space. Like, you want to be able to reach your faucet, and where is your towel? If you need to reach your towel, are you looking at a towel bar on the wall, on the panel, a robe hook? Do you want the towel bar on the door? Do you want a towel bar on the inside of the shower for a washcloth? And I know some people don't do that because of grab bar liabilities. I understand that, but just, consider how you use your space. And then we can help you, So that's the other tidbit.
Yeah.
When people are in the showroom talking to us and, we're trying to hit everything, people are always surprised. My husband will be in there going, maybe they haven't designed it yet. And he'll say, well, now, are you going to have a bench in here somewhere? Because he's thinking notches and stuff. And they're like, well, why do you ask? Well, we should consider notches, and he'll ask, like, the lady, do you have plans for how you're going to shave your legs and where you're going to put your foot up? And they're always like, why are you thinking about me shaving my leg? And it's like, it's what we do. We think about everything we do in the shower, crazy as it sounds. That's our lives.
Love it.
Well, and are you going to have a wand that you point directly at the door to clean it? Is that how you clean your shower? You know, maybe we should
Yeah.
add a seal, just like, you know, additional things.
Great topics. Great topics. Yeah. Yeah. Those are the thing about the side that the shower head's on and how the door opens. That is a huge one that you run into all the time. You know, and plumbers are like, you know, they're lazy, right? They're good. They want to put all of the plumbing on the same wall. So they got a toilet right there, and you got the shower head right there, you got the controls right there, all on the same wall. Then so now you have to put the door on the opposite wall because you can't open the door next to the shower head. Even a slider doesn't work because then you have to squeeze in between the toilet and the shower to get in if you put the door on the shower head side. So I mean that's a great thing to let a customer know about, especially when they're still in the planning phase and they haven't built it out. You know, it's going to cost a little extra to run some plumbing to the other wall, but probably not that much, especially if it's early on.
You know what I think we need to do, Chris? We need to get some guest spots on the Tile Setter Pros Facebook page and the Plumbing Pros Facebook page. We could talk to them about all of this.
That's a great idea. I'm going to look that up right now. Plumbing Pros Facebook page.
Actually, it's very imperative right now, I think, to do exactly that. Because obtaining leads early on as the market gets tougher will be more critical. And in our market, Home Depot has bought one of our competitors.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. So, and they've got multiple locations up the East Coast. So it sounds like, you know, they're doing their thing. Yeah.
Crazy. Home Depot shower doors. Yeah, what could go
So
wrong?
we got to do our thing. That's right. Yep.
Well, and that's another point. It's like, I wish homeowners understood. We get a lot of calls that are like, well, I could buy this at Home Depot for $500. And it's like, yeah, you could. It is a different product entirely. And it doesn't include labor. So it's something you'll either have to do yourself or hire a handyman, and then you won't have a warranty. And especially if something's leaking or going wrong, you know, if something breaks, they can't usually replace just the door. They'll replace the whole thing, or, you know, all kinds of considerations there. So, you know, it's hard to tell a customer that because we're obviously in sales and we're biased. And I just always feel so like salesy when I say things like that. But truly, like, don't cheap out necessarily on the last piece. I mean, it's the cherry on top. And if like you have this gorgeous, beautiful ice cream sundae or banana split and your cherry is like rotten on top, then that's not cool. Like if you just stick a frame shower in there, something cheap, like don't do that. So I don't know, I wish homeowners would consider the budget for the shower door ahead of time so they're not I mean, we're always last. We always get the short end of the stick as far as budget goes. You guys know how it goes, but consider the budget, over budget for the shower door.
Do you guys get a lot of calls from customers early on to check budgeting on the shower door? This is what we're thinking of doing, wondering what it's going to cost.
Yeah, we do. And we try to give them we really try to give people ballpark figures and information. Our office manager does like an incredible job with talking people through the process.
Yeah, I wish I would get more of that early on. Just a preliminary quote, you know, just kind of getting an idea of what this is going to run, you know, when the time comes. Takes away a lot of that shock factor. Oh my God, glass is expensive.
Yeah. Well, especially we'll have people who maybe bought a shower from us in 2020 or 2019, and maybe they're doing a second bath or another home, and we all know the price went up astronomically in what, 21, 22. And I think, you know, they're like that, well, it's not what I spent in 2019. And it's like, yeah, it's neither are eggs. Like, you know, it's just kind of what it is.
Well, we
So-
could do kind of a pricing calculator, you know, to give the expectation as a part of the website, maybe. I mean, or consider that for future direction. Doesn't have to be right away, but
if we
you know,
did anything, that's a good idea. It's not a bad idea. It's a good idea. But if we
But
did something
regionally-
like that, I wouldn't want to. Yeah, I wouldn't want to throw numbers. I'd want to do it like restaurants do, where they have, like, on Google, if you're looking up a restaurant, it'll have like the dollar signs next to it. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
You're like $2 signs or $4 signs or
Yeah, something
$8
more
signs.
like that. The phantom sliders are going to be like $8 signs. But you know, and I feel like some people might offer options that aren't available to other people, so we have to be cognizant of that too.
Certainly. Yeah. Do most
Speaking of which, does anyone know where? Oh, sorry.
I was just going to ask if most of y'all give people preliminary pricing when they call you before you go out to measure.
No.
Raise your hand if you do.
I'm reluctant, but we do it.
About half. Yeah. Yeah,
We'll
I
give
can see why.
we'll give pricing if they can clearly describe it to us, or send us a drawing with some rough numbers. We'll send them a pricing if they can articulate what they want. Otherwise, no.
Yeah, we'll do that. They'll send
It's
it.
not like a guaranteed price, right? It's like a ballpark. Yeah, I'll give you a ballpark.
Yeah.
I'll
It's an
just say
estimate.
based on picture you sent or information. And then
Yeah. I've seen it on some websites before, like on some glass companies, where you can price your shower door, where you can build your own shower door and price it. Does anybody actually use something like that, or is that a thing where you can actually go on there and build your own shower door and get a price for it? I feel like I've seen it on some that I've ventured to, but I don't remember exactly which ones.
there used to be one up in San Jose that did that, and I played with it every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, the things that doesn't take into consideration is the third floor, fourth floor, is the parking, you're walking for forever.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of the factors that you have to build in that, you know, they're giving you a drawing, they're not telling you it's glass tile, and you know, you've got 3 guys to carry it up a staircase, and you know, it's the other stuff that when you get boots on the ground and you're in the house that you start realizing the scope of the job.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I definitely walk every job because of that.
Well,
I
the
don't
thing
want
is,
anything-
are people making their decision based on price or based on quality or your professionalism? I mean, if they're making their decision on price, then none of us should be in the game. That's a Home Depot job if it's price only. But if they're coming to you for a professional, then you can only get a ballpark because you want to go out and see what the job is at the end of the day.
Exactly.
You know, you're going to bring a lot more to the table than they're just giving you. I mean, you just give them a price off a picture. You're no different than anybody else. So you might as well have a AI program do it for you.
No, I agree with you on that, Bill. You have to ask a lot of questions, and I think it needs to be very general and maybe a price range.
It's got to be. You got to sell yourself on them. Sell yourself first, then your product. But you can't sell them a product unless you know what their needs are. You're there to solve a solution, right? You're solving their problem, but you got to know what their full problem is. And some of them, they don't even know what their problem is. That's why you have to ask the questions.
They
don't even
don't
know they have a
know
problem.
what they don't know.
Right.
Yeah. So that circles back around to our whole topic. You know, they don't know what they don't know, and that's what we're here for.
That's why we have this group. That's why they call this the professionals. You know,
I've always felt over the years that if I got into the house, I was in an advantage, and that might sound kind of braggadocious, but for all the reasons that you stated, Bill, and some of the others stated, that you sell your professionalism at that point. You know, things that
Yes.
you recognize that you can't say over the phone. Yes, you can weed somebody out if you say, look, you're looking at about $3,000 over the phone, and they're like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. I was looking at Home Depot and saw one for 700. Well, we're not, that's an apples and orange comparison.
Yeah.
But if you start, I guess, expressing or displaying your professionalism and your knowledge and your expertise over the phone, I always wanted to get in. I know there's a cost associated with driving out to a customer's house, and it might be a dead end, but I feel like once I got in the door and was able to express my knowledge and the history, and, you know, you show some of your portfolio and look at all those things you talked about, I felt like I had a better chance of winning this game than just talking over the phone.
Yeah, I like to do that. I like
There's
to do that
things
too.
when you're face to face with a customer, there's indications that you get, facial expressions,
Yeah.
attitude, eye roll, all sorts of things that you can pick up on as you tune into it that you can't get over the phone,
Right.
Yeah.
right? Just the intonation of your voice alone. Some people don't come across good on the phone, but you get face to face and totally different. You act differently. Just everything about it's different.
Yeah.
You can upsell too, you know.
Of course.
You got your samples in your bag. You show samples, show them Starfire to clear and stuff like that. I mean, I'm guilty. I do sometimes, people send me through follow-up, sizes and pictures and stuff. I'll do that. I mean, it's not a set price, but it's sort of like a footing inside the house. If they agree to it, okay, I'm gonna go measure it, and then when I'm there, I'll look around in their bathroom. If I see a ladder pull handle on their cabinet or in their drawer, oh, you want a ladder handle? Okay, sure. To match the flow to your bathroom, most of the time they want it, so you make a little extra there, and then you pull out your sample glass, and yeah, I mean, I think it's both advantage for both. I mean, I don't think it's bad either way.
I'll give you a really good example. This happened today at my house. I was home. We have a guy that usually comes in and washes our windows and cleans them inside and out. But he's been away, so we had to try and find somebody else that would do it. The guy gave my wife a price over the phone, said, okay, that's reasonable. He gets here and it starts, and he's halfway through the job and said, oh man, I priced this job wrong. Now, okay, so now put yourself in that same position. What do? Do you swallow it and just do the job for what you quoted it, or try and get more out of it? Now, if you did a job on follow-up and you gave somebody a price, you're hung. You're hung.
Yeah.
And then what are you going to do? Try and get the customer for more? That's not building relationships, at least not a long-term relationship. That person feels awkward. They may pay you. They're going to fight if they don't. It's just a bad situation you put yourself in.
I mean, I do bid when I do that on follow-up. I do bid a little higher than normal, just to give me that, buffer between, even though, so I put an outage for each piece of glass, whatever, because my supplier charges me for each one, and then if you got multiple outages on one piece of glass, it's more than doubles. So it's just, I add all that. And then I do put a contingency in my quote. This is just, if anything, unforeseen things, and they understand. You gotta word it out, right? You can't just say, okay, $2,000 for a door panel. All right. You get there and it's, more than that. Well, that's your fault for not closing that with your customer.
Sure.
I mean, taking a little more, you gotta do more. You got to give the customer more information than $2,000. Some of them just don't want. Some people want just a ballpark. Okay, they say ballpark. You tell them 2,000. Okay, that's on them. But
how many times you tell them ballpark and they're still going to try and hold you to the price? I mean,
I know.
That's what's buried in their head. You give them a ballpark, it's there.
It's there.
You can qualify it as much as you want. It's there. That's the price.
2,000 to 2,500. I always tell my customers right there. They want ballpark, it's gonna be right there.
Yeah.
Not only that, but if you tell them it's going to be like between 1,500 and 1,800, they're going to hear 1,500.
Yeah.
They're gonna forget
Every
about
day of the week.
Right.
Every day of the week.
Yeah.
It's just human nature.
I had a lady today. We do everything, so she wanted a 44 by 78 3/4 inch glass top. And I said,
Yeah.
I have to come by and see the house because that thing weighs about 378 pounds. And how are we going to get in the house? And at first she didn't want to give me her address, and finally she did, and I Googled it. Because I've been in that house before. It's not easy. So I need to come by and look at it before I give you a price, you know? Well, they moved it in before, and I says, who? The movers. Oh, that's great, you know?
Wasn't me. Yeah.
Yeah, and he says, how about a ballpark? And I says, I quit doing that a long time ago. You know, I learned my lesson on that.
So what happened? Did she book it so you can go look at it?
We haven't go look at it. I
She
mean, I know
allowed-
the house, I've been there. You know, I've done work for her before,
Yeah.
but I'll go by and look at it and see if we can get in the house.
So now does she need to replace it because the movers moved it in the first place?
No, somebody chipped it, so
Was it the movers?
no. Been there a while and it got chipped, so she needs a new one. But not only have to get it in the house, I got to get the old one out, you know.
That's right.
Oh, they don't tell you that, Tim. They only tell you that after you bring the new one. Oh, by the way, you're gonna take the old one, right?
We already knew that.
Yeah.
It's-
What
Hey,
am
I
I
got a
gonna-
question for you. This is a customer question. It's not, it's a little bit different from the topic. So we've been fortunate enough to have a lot of repeat customers, you know, whether they be builders or building materials places that refer us for showers. But we live in a relatively rural area, but I find more and more, these guys have been extremely loyal over the years, but more and more they start stretching out their business. And so, you know, a job now is sometimes an hour away, an hour and a half away. Just kind of curious as to how you guys deal with that. And I'm talking about people who only call us for their glass, whether it be shower doors, mirrors, tabletops, and things, or even storefront.
Yeah.
But I just had one guy whose company actually owns a glass company, but he uses me. I guess he's bucking the direction. But he called the other day and said, I need you to go to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is gonna be like an hour and 45 minutes away. And, you know, he gives me everything. And I'm just, you know, I'm reluctant to say no. I don't want somebody else. A, I don't want somebody else to like get a foot in the door. But B, you have to start asking yourself, man, you screw up one time, you know, and now you
got to go back.
They have a call back. Just your mindset, I guess, in dealing with good customers who've been loyal to you, but yet they start expanding their area and it gets into your pockets really a little bit from a risk standpoint.
We've done it. I mean, Keith's
Yeah.
gotten a truck and gone down to Key West or down
Yeah.
into the Keys. That's an area way out of our thing, but we do it for good customers.
I do. I'll just come clean. I make the trip because they've been good, but I just was curious as to this group, how
We-
you guys think about it.
I think a lot
We have-
depends on the amount of manpower you have, what kind of time your schedule is. Do you need to work?
The
What
money.
relationship you have with that
The
customer?
money. It's about the money.
Yeah.
My dad always used to say, never turn down a promotion. You know, it's like price yourself out of the market. You know, if someone wants to give you something more, just price it as high as you need to. If you need to double the price to make it worth your while, do it. I mean, if they say, oh gosh, that's too much, well, no harm done. It's like, well, that's what it's going to take for me to do that, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's one approach.
We have a particular builder who's unfortunately about 25% of our business now, and they're growing, and we're trying to grow with them without overstretching ourselves. So we're in the Beaufort area of Georgia, and they're building in Lake Oconee, which is about an hour and 45 minutes away from us. But we're doing each house they build, we're doing $10,000 to $15,000 in a house, you know. So it's kind of like they're one of our best builders, you know. So we're trying to make sure that everything is done as efficiently as possible to eliminate go backs. And they're also very understanding that we are an hour and 45 minutes away. So they keep it in mind that, hey, we're going far. So they try to line things up for us appropriately. And that's kind of how we do it, you know, because before, honestly, this particular builder was using a different glass company to service that area, but then they had to switch and they're like, hey, do you guys want this work? We need a new person again for this area. And we're like, fine, we'll do it, you know. So it's, but they're gonna look somewhere, if not towards you, and you really want them to look towards you. And it's not, you know, it's you're kind of responsible to grow with them if you want to keep them, you know, because eventually they're gonna, if they outgrow you, they're gonna go somewhere else, you know. So do what you can to stick with them, you know. That's what we're trying to do with one of our particular builders. So we have some that build out of state too. We haven't quite got at that level yet. We have one builder that's building north of us in the Carolinas. It'd be nice to grow with them and go to that area. We know it's an open market and opportunity for us to have business in the area if we wanted to venture out, and they would probably just, you know, gravitate towards us because we've been with them for a while. But I don't know, try to grow with them and try not to turn it down if you can, but make sure they know that you need to be as efficient as possible and make sure you are being as efficient as possible doing it.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of back on topic because, you know, contractors are customers too, right? So, so educating the customer, you know, you need to teach your contractors how to be a good customer, you know. And I'll compare them sometimes. I'll be like, oh, that other contractor, they pay me as soon as I'm done, you know. They pay me as soon as I'm done. They're nice. They make sure the driveway is open for my guys when they pull up. They make sure that stuff's out of the way. That contractor is a good customer, you know. Teach customers how to be good customers, you know, whether they're homeowners, whether they're contractors, whatever. Because really deep down, we all want to do a good job, you know, even as a consumer. I mean, I want to be the best consumer I can be. That's the American way.
You know, that that contractor, Dan, was trying to expand his business. He knows darn well that there's an expense to doing that, right? I mean, either they had to put an office in that area, that's an expense. They had to hire more people to go up in that area, that's an expense. It's not unheard of to say, I want to work with you, I want that job. If I'm doing it from here, it's going to cost this much more. I would like to do that. But I think they'll understand. It's relationship and how you explain it to them.
Yeah, I think
they're not stupid.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be a very wise thing for us. It's not necessarily my account, but I think it'd be a very wise thing for me to suggest charging a little bit more here and there. So because of the travel time, you know, and I have to manage it as far as the neighborhood and stuff. And they know I won't go down there for just nothing, you know, like it's got to be a full day, and it's got to be a full day just to make the most of it. But maybe if we could charge you a little bit more, we could go down there for this emergency thing because, hey, we're making money regardless if we have to go down there for something that's a punch out item that's keeping you from closing. So, but we've made more money, so it's worthwhile, you know, because you got to pay somebody an hour and a half both ways. It's 3 hours of drive time in a day just so they could be installing. So.
And you know, there's trade-offs too. I'll give you an example of this. You're trying to help this builder grow, and he's trying to give you business. I don't know if you saw Keith's post last week. He did a video in front of a new builder, how neat they kept the job site, how organized it was, and he posted it and he tagged that customer. Well, come to find out that customer, the guy that runs the job site, was a new employee there. And the office staff saw Keith's video, brought it to the owner of the business, who was impressed and called Keith to thank him for posting that video. And so did the job foreman, because he got kudos from his boss. So we bring an awful lot of value to the builders by doing our job professionally and being there, but we can have the power of social media to help promote them where they can get more jobs. And that's a part of things that Home Depot is not going to bring to the table for these guys. And that type of personalized relationship building we can add value. It's just like I say that to my advertising people that want to sell us magazines. You need to bring some added value to this. You know, introduce me to the other guys that you're selling advertising to, the tile guys, the grout repair guys, you know, all these other contractors, remodelers that you have a connection with. That's added value to what you do. And we'll reciprocate. We'll tell our friends about your magazine. And those are the things that the big boys don't do, and they won't do. And that's where we as a professional group can add value.
You're starting to sound like John Maxwell with all this added value.
What it's about. That's what
Mhm.
it's about. You've got the expertise, you've got the knowledge. Sure, they can buy a door somewhere else. You're not going to get your knowledge. You've got the knowledge, the professionalism, the experience. I mean, we have a whole portfolio of pictures that we've taken of jobs that we're putting backwards, upside down, out of squares in the wrong direction, no gasketing, caulking just oozing out of gaps. It's like, these are people that either did it themselves or hired a handyman who's never done it before. And yes, you just saved $200. Good luck with it. Now you got to live with that.
Mhm.
You know, congratulations, you won that game. Is that what you want? And Christina hit the nail on the head. You know, it's like, this is the icing on the cake. You don't want a chintz here. This isn't one where you want a novice that's just starting the glass business to start putting caulking on his finger and rubbing it into joints. It's just, that's not our gig. But you see it happen all the time. All the time.
Well, the spittle's not good enough.
Yeah,
Patooey,
right.
You know,
Patooey.
silicone, and use your finger to it. Boom.
Exactly,
man.
Exactly.
Do the little hatui.
We've got the best industry there is. Our trade is bar none. I say the best trade in the industry.
Absolutely.
We don't need to give it away. We just have to have relationship building with the contractors and show them the value that we bring. That's the importance and the quality we get. You know, a lot of guys don't even know that your glass suppliers can get you different quality of glass. Even if it's 3/8 clear, they have different levels of quality with less flaws in it. You can order glass that's like mirror-like, which is like no flaws.
What is that called?
Speaking of
You
quality,
just talk about quality levels. You talk to your supplier. Like, depending on who your supplier is, it's who buys it from the float plant. We're buying direct from the float plant, and we went down this road. When low iron was not available, they had a higher quality low iron with less flaws in it. And we paid more for it. But it's spectacular glass.
it's not necessarily shower doors, but mirror. Has anybody ever used the higher quality mirrors? I'm not sure if it's low iron or Starfire, but the higher quality mirror. Like, I heard it's a big thing down in Florida, and we have access to it, but we've never used it. Can you really see a difference in that stuff? Like, because I'm very tempted just to order a sheet and stick it in with our packs just to see the difference. But Bill, have you guys? What is it like, the different quality mirrors?
Well, if you do a nice polished edge instead of a seam edge, you'll really see it glisten. I mean, it looks nice. Looks like a cut piece of jewelry. It's really nice.
I did
Go ahead, Adrian.
I did one. I did a staggery beveled of low iron mirror and beveled edges. Man, turned out real good. Turned out
Really,
real nice.
there's just a brilliance. It's hard to explain to the average eye, but there's just a brilliance that comes with it.
Yeah.
It's like if you've done low iron glass, whether it's Starfire or Crystal Clear, whatever it is, and you have it in your shop and you got it on an L-buck and the sun's coming in right, and you're walking through your shop and you see all your regular monolithic clear, or what we call generic clear glass, and then you see your low iron, it just jumps off the A-frame at you, right? You can just see it quickly. Yeah. Same thing with the mirror. Your eye will just catch it. It's the same thing to going into a job and you see somebody did a really nice job with crystal clear caulking, the water clear. Mm-hmm. It's just like, wow, is that clear? And that's beautiful.
What's it called? The mirror. What's it called?
Low iron mirror.
Low iron.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it.
They're putting a silver backing on low iron 1/4 inch or 3/16, whatever you're using, but they're using low iron glass.
Good
Yeah.
to know.
There's
It carries a
also, don't
better
forget, the
brilliance.
copper-free mirror silvering.
Mhm.
It's,
That's
you know, it costs a little bit more, but if you're in a wet environment like Florida, you know, or like us out here, we're near the ocean, do a lot of work like right on the ocean. That copper-free mirror doesn't develop the black edge the way that regular mirror does.
Mhm.
So that makes a huge difference.
Where do you get that on the West Coast there, Chris?
We're getting it, you know, we were getting it before from Contractors Wardrobe.
Yeah, they had
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
They have it still.
And now I think Oldcastle is what they're delivering. So you can tell the backing is blue, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can tell by the color of the paint on the back. The copper free. Good stuff.
Well, I think it
So-
all
Yeah.
has copper free now, I think.
Yeah, I think that they've pretty much gone, everybody's just gone to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think US Glass sells it too. I think they do.
That wouldn't surprise me.
To bring it all the way back around, I think I'd like homeowners to know that shower door professionals don't always love mirrors.
True that. True that.
No, that would be
I do.
mirror professionals.
I do.
Well, I like them. I don't love them.
Yeah, I would put that under the mirror professionals category.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I rarely do mirrors now in a vanity. They're all getting these LED light mirrors. I'm like, all right. Rarely I do a vanity mirror.
Yeah.
And I have cases of mirror in the back of my shop right now.
Nice. Well, that's pretty good. I think we got some good tidbits out of that. Thanks for showing up.